Welcome back to English Classes Online, where English learning is made easy. On this channel, our goal is to equip you with the linguistic tools required for effective communication and for success in your English exams. We teach everything English, and your proficiency is our business. If you are intending to take any of the English language proficiency tests, such as IELTS and Duolingo English Test, DET, you'll find links to our training courses in the description section below. Moreover, we teach you how to use the English language as an effective tool for creating content, monetizing content, and creating for yourself multiple streams of income on various online platforms. If you are interested in such lessons, kindly subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Make sure you click on the bell icon as well, so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel you will be notified instantly. This will ensure that you don't miss any of our new videos. We appreciate all of you out there who keep supporting us by liking and sharing our videos with your friends and relations. Do not forget to browse through our playlists for other video lessons. In the description section below you'll also find links to different resources such as ebooks, online courses, and training courses that you might find useful for your English learning or for your content creation skill development. Let's get started with today's lesson right away.
Hi everyone, this is Benjamin from English Classes Online. In today's lesson, our focus is on the lion and the jewel, and we want to look at this play by Wole Soyinka and discuss the play as a comedy. This is in response to a request by one of our esteemed viewers, and if you are interested in a topic like this, make sure you listen, you watch the video till the end, so that you will be able to understand this play as a comedy. So without much ado, let's dive right into the lesson. First, from the comments section. Now, this request was made by Ume Adeze, and that was 2 months ago, so I wish to apologize for the delay. Our workload on this channel is really much. So Adeze, if you are watching this video, we are responding to this request, even though belatedly. You requested us to discuss the play as a comedy, and that is exactly what I want to do in this lesson right away. So let's go into the lesson by first taking a quick look at the lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain: 1, the meaning of comedy; 2, features of comedy in the play, and of course they are as follows. I, laughter-inducing scenes. These are all features of comedy. Satire, of course, is a subgenre of comedy. Then love and romance are aspects that feature, and music and dance. Then we have dramatic irony, and we have happy ending. These are all comic elements which we find in The Lion and the Jewel, and we are going to look at them in greater detail. Now, what is comedy? A comedy is a play that induces laughter and has a happy ending. That's a simple way of defining comedy, all right? But it has also been described, comedy has also been described as a storytelling genre that uses laughter and humor in order to entertain and amuse. So you can see all these are actually aspects of comedy, okay? Then let's look at Aristotle. You will agree with me that Aristotle, a Greek philosopher, contributed a lot to the definition of aspects of literature. So according to Aristotle, a comedy is a play that depicts some sort of laughable error or disgrace that in turn elicits some emotion in the audience, such as embarrassment or delight. In fact, according to Aristotle, a good comedy is used to expose certain human errors, ridicule them, and present them as laughable in such a way that people will actually be disgusted by such, people will be ashamed of indulging in such acts. So that actually is the business of comedy. That is the purpose of comedy as a genre of drama. Drama as a genre of literature can also be subclassified into comedy, tragicomedy, and tragedy. Tragedy, tragic comedy, and comedy. And you can also look at farce, although farce can be seen as an aspect of comedy. When comedy is overblown, with very ridiculous and unrealistic characters and situations, then you have farce, okay? Then you have satire also, although these various aspects are classified as subgenres of drama. Okay, so let's now look at how we can differentiate. How can we differentiate comedy from tragedy? Some people sometimes get confused. A comedy is a humorous story with a happy ending, whereas a tragedy is a serious story with a sad ending. That's the difference. Where you have a tragedy, it is either that the main character ends up dying, or there is a serious reversal of fortune, okay? So, but in comedy, there's a happy ending. And that's what we find in The Lion and the Jewel, as we shall see in greater detail. Okay, so let's begin to look at features of comedy that we can find in The Lion and the Jewel. The play itself is a comedy and centers on 4 major characters. You have Baroka, the elderly chief of Ilunjire. Then you have Lakunle, the young headmaster of a primary school. Then you have Sidi, the most beautiful girl in the village. And you have Sadiku, the eldest wife of Baroka. Now, Baroka is portrayed as a cunning fox. Lakunle is depicted as an arrogant teacher. Sidi is characterized as an arrogant, egotistical, or vainglorious young village girl. Her beauty actually blows her mind off, and sometimes you see her, so much full of herself. And then you have Sadiku, who is presented as a simple-minded elderly woman. Okay, so let's now look at the comic elements. The following comic elements are evident in the play. Those are features of comedy. We can call them comic elements. The first one is laughter-inducing scenes. To start with, you find the characters acting and speaking in a way that creates false impressions of superiority over others. For example, Lakunle is known for his high-sounding and sometimes strange vocabulary, English words he uses, to make it look as if he's more civilized than everyone else in the village. In fact, he talks down on the villagers, and he looks at everything in the village as backward. He's so much overwhelmed by his passion for civilization. Yet in his use of words, you even begin to wonder sometimes whether he's actually as educated as he portrays himself. Then even Sidi from the moment she begins to feel her new fame and power, you see her using words that are meant to show that she's more important than the others. She is so full of herself that she loses every sense of caution until she runs into Baraka's trap without knowing what she's doing. You know, this happens, of course, because Baraka also, you know, Baraka uses words to give the impression and, in fact, convince everyone around him that he is now impotent. He has lost his manhood. You know, he can no longer perform as a man. And so the fact that Baraka sends Sadiku, okay, his first wife, as the agent in wooing Sidi, also adds to the funny atmosphere of the play. There are different other, if you read the play, you will see a lot of, you know, for example, you will also laugh when you find Lakunle running out of his class, you know, leaving the children in the class just to run after Sidi, you know, and all that. And you listen to their conversation, they are all laughter-inducing conversations, and there are a lot of dramatizations that induce laughter, and these all confirm that The Lion and the Jewel is a comedy, because a comedy actually is meant to entertain. A comedy is meant to correct social ills by ridiculing them, by making a caricature of them, making them laughable, okay? So people will laugh at the errors of some human errors that are exposed and dramatized, okay? That's actually the purpose of a comedy, and all these are quite evident in The Lion and the Jewel. Now, number two, excuse me, we have satire, which is also an aspect or a feature of comedy, you know. Satire is a subgenre of comedy, and it is meant to ridicule social vices, just as I already mentioned. You know, it does this through the behavior of a character who does silly things, usually to make other people laugh. This is called buffoonery. You know, a buffoon is somebody who is silly, who does silly things. So in the play, we find Lakunle's actions and utterances in support of civilization very laughable. His mannerisms are often on the side of it goes to the extreme. For example, Lakunle rushes out of a class of young people that is teaching just to woo a woman and even kiss her. But in that conversation, you see him, you know, the conversation again is what Lakunle uses to exhibit his civilized ways, correcting Sidi and telling her she's not supposed to come out, exposing her cleavages. She is not even supposed to carry any load on her head and all that, you know. And you see, you also find Lakunle saying things and, you know, communicating ideas that even the simple village girl Sidi finds very ridiculous. For example, you see Lakunle bragging, boasting about his personal plans to bring great development, bring social amenities, infrastructure, bring enlightenment to the village of Ilujinle. This is laughable because he doesn't have the resources to do that. He's just a common village teacher, and he doesn't hold any political authority. So how could he accomplish such things? Lakunle also insists that he wants to marry Sidi without paying any bride price. This portrays the extremely ridiculous extent to which some half-educated Africans could go in denouncing all aspects of their people's culture in the guise of civilization. All this play out. So we see Lakunle as, you know, a tool or a portrayal of this kind of post-colonial era. These characters, you know, some of them half educated, yet you see them completely departing from the people's way of life. And all these kinds of characters, you know, are portrayed in different African works of literature. Okay, both poetry, drama, and novel. Okay, so you find similar characters. Okay, for instance, in Chinua Achebe's No Longer Artist, we find the central character also. After his education, we see him, you know, how he is torn between his people's way of life and his own life. And of course, before that, when you read Things Fall Apart, you see also the clash between the Western civilization and African traditional way of life. And you see a lot of things playing out. And similar things are portrayed here, but here we have a post-colonial era here. No, not actually post-colonial, because at this point, the civilization is just coming in, okay? So the civilization is coming in. Some aspects of civilization have actually come in, and then the impact is being felt, and there is a clash or a conflict between the traditional way of life and the Western influence. And that is the kind of thing we see here. And so Lakunle is used here as a symbol of, you know, as a satirical character or symbol, if you like. You know, Wole Soyinka uses Lakunle to dramatize this ridiculous character or behavior of the half-educated African. Okay, and the extent they can go, because it is laughable how Lakunle thinks that, you know, civilization should abolish bride price. Okay, for example. So, and he insists on it, and that shows you the ridiculous extent that some people can go when they are thinking they are projecting civilization. They are actually abusing it. Okay, so let's now look at the third comic element, and that is love and romance. Of course, even in tragedy too, you have love and romance. But when you find what you find here is love and romance handled on a lighter note. You know, it is a clear departure from or is significantly different from a serious tragic comedy such as what do you call Romeo and Juliet, you know, which, you know, ends in tragedy. Both Romeo and Juliet, you know, die tragically. But here, the issue of love and romance is treated on a lighter note, and that is what makes The Lion and the Jewel a comedy. Okay, so the play begins with Lakunle professing love for Sidi, the village beauty. That romantic relationship is interrupted when the elderly Baroka goes after Sidi and wants to marry her. While Lakunle insists on his strange notion of a civilization that abolishes bride price, Baroka is ready to pay Sidi's bride price and marry her according to the tradition and culture of his people. In the end, Baroka wins the love of Sidi, whereas Lakunle loses and is humiliated. So that's a tinge of irony there. One would have thought that, you know, Sidi, a young girl, would go for a young man Lakunle. But what we find here is that the aspects of the traditional African way of life is still very much strong. You know, it still has a firm hold on the lives of the people, and not all aspects of this African traditional way of life has actually been jettisoned in favor of civilization. Although you have the likes of Lakunle, who would insist that every aspect of the African culture should be thrown away and everything should be Europeanized or Westernized, if you like. So here you find love and romance, you know, depicted in the play, and again you find a lot of fun, you know, a lot of fun. For example, in this love relationship that is brewing between Baroka, the local chief, and Sidi, the village beauty, you find also the polygamous nature of the African man, because Baroka already has Sadiku and others as his wife, but he wants to take Sidi as an additional wife. And quite ridiculously enough, he sends his senior wife to go after Sidi, and it is Sadiku who ordinarily should be jealous of having another woman come between her and the husband, now plays a major role in going to convince or persuade Sidi that she should come into the family as a new wife. And so a lot of things happen here that portray, you know, certain aspects of male domination in the African society. Because you find, especially in Nigeria, traditionally, the man is viewed as the man with authority. And that, of course, in this play, you find that Baroka is a representation of the lion. He is the lion in the play, and Sidi is the jewel, okay? And the lion is the one with authority. The man in the African setting has the right to marry as many wives as he can cope with, but it is unimaginable to find the wife not seeing any ambition to take a second husband. It never happens in the African tradition. And so all this plays out, and so you can find it convenient for, you know, Baroka to send his wife to go and discuss with another woman whom he wants to bring into the family as his additional wife. And so again, a lot of aspects of African tradition and African custom, you know, all these are depicted in the play. So it is not really just the straightforward love relationship that you find in different plays. Here you find various aspects of the African tradition. For instance, Sidi is torn between her love for Lakunle, a younger man, and her belief in tradition. And so you see the traditional belief, traditional practices as exerting a strong influence even on the young woman, that she can't go after her heart because she is restrained by the laws of the land, by the traditions of her people. And so she insists that Lakunle must come and pay her bride price. And because Lakunle is unwilling to do that, he loses out in the end, okay? Now, let's look at the next comic element or feature of comedy, and that is number 4, music and dance. Now, music and dance are aspects of entertainment and comedy is meant to entertain the audience. That's one of the major purposes of comedy. Comedy is meant to entertain the audience, you know, by highlighting those human errors, those human follies, you know, that need to be exposed, brought to the public domain, and then ridiculed as a way of teaching people with pleasure. All right, so the play contains numerous dance performances which portray the traditional ways of entertainment, expression, and communication in the African rural community. The dance of the lost traveler, for example, gives a view of an important event, the visit of the strange photographer, which took place in Ilujinle village. Now, the photographer's visit portrays the influence or the advent of Western civilization. And so we find the playwright using music and dance as comic elements to depict the major theme of his play. And this shows you also why the play is a comedy, because, you know, the comic elements are used to project even the major theme. The major theme of this play is the conflict between the traditional African way of life and, you know, the advent of the Western civilization. There's a conflict, there's a clash between the two cultures. And that's one of the major themes in this play. And then the photographer's visit to the village, you know, and then the magazine that later carries the pictures of the village beauty and all that. All these, you know, show aspects of Western civilization and the influence, you know, that it is beginning to exert on the life of the local community. And so the playwright uses music and dance, you know, to punctuate much of the action of the play, and that is evidence that The Lion and the Jewel is essentially a comedy, okay? And so we look at number 5, we find dramatic irony. You know, essentially, you need to understand that dramatic irony is a prominent feature of tragedy as well, okay? However, it is also used in comedy. And here in The Lion and the Jewel, we find that dramatic irony is used in highlighting human follies. In comedy, dramatic irony adds to the fun when the characters are unaware of the funny truths that the audience is keenly aware of. Let's look at the situation here in The Lion and the Jewel, because dramatic irony is used to, you know, to give excitement to the audience. The audience become excited because they are looking at the character involved. He is ignorant of what is happening. And so that excites them and induces laughter in them as well, because it exposes the folly, the ignorance of the character, such as Lakunle, who actually, you know, seems to show that he knows more than everybody in that village. Now, so let's look at the romantic relationship between Lakunle and Sidi as an example. Lakunle continues to believe that Sidi has decided to marry him. You know, he goes on believing that. But we know as we go through the play that this is not true at all. In fact, you can see it quite clearly that Sidi has made up her mind that she's not going to marry somebody who is unwilling to pay her bride price. Yet the message is not clear to Lakunle because of his wrong notion of, you know, civilization, which he thinks has, you know, come and overthrown every aspect of the African traditional way of life. So it's clear that no sane family will give out their daughter in marriage to a man who is unwilling to pay the bride price. Sidi herself knows that such a thing is impossible. yet Lakunle sticks to his foolish belief that the young woman is his. You know, this exposes Lakunle's senseless perception of civilization and his funny idea of what true love is all about. While we feel pity for him, we equally feel amused that someone can be so daft in his notion of civilization. When the play ends with the marriage ceremony between Sidi and Baroka, we find Lakunle running after another girl who equally seems to be making a jest of him. So that is how dramatic irony is used in this play to highlight those aspects of human folly and human errors that, you know, a comedy is meant to correct. Okay. All right. So that actually brings us to the last but not the least, and that is number 6, happy ending. Of course, you know that one prominent aspect of a comedy is that it is a story that ends happily. So unlike tragedy that ends in tragedy or ends in sadness. Now the play ends with a marriage procession where everyone is happy, okay? And you see, that is the culmination of the play. Although we find Lakunle, who has lost the chance to marry Sidi, feeling disappointed, yet we can see him running after another girl who equally seems to be making fun of him. However, everything ends, you know, happily. The marriage between the elderly Baroka and the young Sidi seems to portray the idea that both the old traditional African ways and the new Western civilization have come to stay side by side in the African communities. And so this is how the play ends. And with all these aspects, these comic elements we have seen in The Lion and the Jewel, we can beat our chests and conclude that The Lion and the Jewel is indeed a comedy. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you did, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not yet done so, and make sure you click on the bell icon after clicking on the subscribe icon button, so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel, you will be notified instantly. Like the video and share the video with your friends and relations. You will find a lot of resources in the description section, and there are links that will take you, give you access to each of them. You have ebooks, you have online courses, you have training programs, you know, various aspects, because on this channel, we teach you the English language, we teach you literature, we also teach you how you can use the English language as a tool for content creation. So we teach content creation, content marketing. We show you how you can create content using English language as a tool for creating content. And we also show you how you can monetize the content you created and how you can use your content to create multiple streams of income on various online platforms. You can use your proficiency in the use of English to do exactly what I'm doing, not only on this YouTube channel, but on other online platforms where you can actually begin to earn passive income. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you for being part of today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, kindly leave them in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Goodbye for now, and remain blessed. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you in the new video.